Chris here with Hooks and Hammocks. Today we're going to talk about the Minn Kota PowerDrive PowerDrive trolling motor. Try to give you some tips, tricks, and basic functions. Stick around. Okay, so let's start with the unit itself. This is a 24 volt Minn Kota PowerDrive Autopilot integrated GPS system. I believe this is a 70-pound thrust unit. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it is. Up here on the base where it's mounted, you have a test button. You can push and see that all those batteries light up. That means we're fully charged. This right here is the release to put it down in the water. It's kind of a pain in the butt. I cannot do it one-handed, so I'll show you this again once it's deployed. All right, as you can see, I've got the motor deployed, and right there it does say 70-pound thrust, 24 volt. In any direction that this end of the motor head is pointing, that's the direction it's going to pull your boat. So that's the basics on the trolling motor itself. Next, we're going to go over the remote, and as you can see right now, it is not powered on at all. See if I can get away where you don't get so much glare. But to turn this unit on, we just hit the check mark, and it says you're responsible for the safe and prudent operation of your vessel. This product does not relieve you from the responsibility for safe operation of your boat. We're going to say okay, which is just this button right here. This is not a touch screen. Okay, now it shows this is our home page. So basic operations of this, let me turn back around here. Basic operations, if you watch the screen and the buttons, this is going to turn the motor one direction. That turns the motor the other direction. This is how you turn the unit on. You can see up here in the top left corner it still says 0. If I put that on half, now my prop is turning and it is going to pull the boat in that direction. If I wanted to go faster, I just hit the plus sign again. You can see now we're at 1.5. I think you can see that. There's 2. So right now we're just going to leave it on 2. It's just pointed in a direction. If we leave it like that, it's just going to sit here and turn us in circles. But I want to get the boat turned just a little bit. We do have some wind out here today, and we'll go over some more features of this remote. All right, so we went over the basic operation. So right now we're set at power setting 2. This goes all the way up to 10, I believe. Let's just check it out real quick. Well, there's 8 right there, and it's already taking me in a direction I don't want to go. So let's put it back down to like 2 or 1.5, 1.5. So we're nice, easy, comfortable speed. And you can see again, whichever direction that trolling motor is pointing, that's the direction it's going to take us. All right, so that's just basic operation. If you just wanted to sit here and drive the boat, use these buttons, left, right, higher speed, lower speed. You got a home button, check marks for doing some other stuff. You'll see that in a little while. But let's just go over some basic, well, let's go over some of the Autopilot settings, some of the Autopilot features. So if I want to go into Autopilot, I point, let me shut that off. All I did was, see the prop was on right there. I turned my prop off. Now my trolling motor's not running. It's just sitting there waiting for me to do something. But if I want to point, and I don't know if you can see that boat over there, I'm going to turn this trolling motor and point it towards that boat. Then I'm going to hit my navigation button, my north button right here. Now that trolling motor is locked on to that spot over there. And all I have to do is turn my prop on, and it is going to take us there. No matter what I do from here on out, that motor is locked on a spot, and it's just going to take us over there. Now, right now I've got it set at 1.5. I do not have the cruise control, which we do have right here on this button, is the cruise control button right there. So what I can do is I can push this cruise control button, and now you see that target 0.5 popped up. I can set that to any speed I want, up to probably 3 or 4 miles an hour. I don't know exactly how high it goes. But now, not only are we locked on a spot, we're also locked into a speed. Our current speed is 0.6. I've got our target set at 0.5. Now that will fluctuate here and there, but for the most part, it's going to keep us at 0.5 miles an hour. It's going to do whatever it has to do to keep us there. Now, if we get a wind pushing us real hard behind us, we're going to end up going a little bit faster than we want to go, and then we just have to adjust things from there. All right, so that's your basic autopilot setting. So now, inside of this autopilot setting, you have a legacy mode and you have an advanced mode. I want to show you guys how to get into that and what the differences are, and or what I believe the differences are. I'm going to adjust our heading just a tad because I see a log up there. But so from here, if you see at the bottom of the screen, it says record and lock. I can push this down arrow, and now it says options and systems. I'm going to select options over here with this button. Now at the top it says autopilot mode, and it's already highlighted. I'm going to use my check mark to select that. I have legacy and advanced. We are currently in legacy mode. If I use my down arrow and select advanced, I want you to watch the trolling motor. All right, so we are still locked on the same setting, or the same heading, I'm sorry. But the trolling motor is going to do even more work to keep us going on that heading. Let me go back. I'm just going to go push the home button. So we're back on our home screen. Now the reason that trolling motor is doing that is we have a crosswind. And it's going to work extra hard. When I called Minn Kota and asked them what the difference between advanced and legacy was, the most basic explanation I can give is legacy is just point and go. Advanced is constantly looking for signal, like a satellite signal, and it's going to be more pinpoint accurate is what they told me. Now, in my experience, there's a time to use legacy and there's a time to use advanced. When you're fighting the wind really bad, or at least in my experience, when I'm fighting the wind real bad, I've got a crosswind, the advanced feature seems to help me stay on course better. When I'm not fighting wind, it's a nice calm day, a little bit of current helps keep the boat straight, stuff like that, I put it on legacy, because you can tell when you're on advanced mode, that's what you hear all day long. It gets annoying. I'm going to move the trolling motor now. I'm going to point us to a different direction. So every time I move that trolling motor, it picks up a new heading. I don't have to do anything else. I'm already on autopilot. I'm already on cruise control. All I do, if I wanted to go to the left, now it's picked up a new heading and it's going to take the boat to that heading. But as you can imagine, by hearing that, that gets pretty annoying. So what I normally do, and I'm going to do it right now, I'm going to go back, I'm going to use my down arrow, I'm going to select options, autopilot mode's at the top, it's already highlighted, I hit my check mark, I'm going back to legacy mode, and I'm going to select it with my check mark, and look at the difference. Look at how much difference that makes in noise and working your trolling motor. Now, like I said, there's a time for legacy and there's a time for advanced. And you just have to figure that out on your own, which one works better for you and what conditions. I have some friends that say, you know, they never use the advanced feature because they hate it. It does it, you know, and the boat ends up sideways and the boat tries to overcorrect, and it will do that. But for me, in certain situations, I guess I could turn this around, but for me, in certain situations, the advanced mode does come in handy sometimes. The majority of the time, I'm using the legacy mode. So that pretty much covers all the autopilot settings. I mean, that's what I'm using the most. That's why you get a trolling motor like this, is for that autopilot mode. Now, the one other feature I can show you just sitting here in the chair before we get started, I'm gonna turn you back around so you can see the motor and the remote. You can see we're still set in that. I'm gonna go I'm going to go to my home screen, push the home button. Right now we're cruising along. We've got a heading set. We've got a speed set at 0.5. We're actually doing 0.6. All the way down here at the bottom of this remote, there's an anchor. That's your spot lock button. I'm going to push that. It just took us out of autopilot. It has picked up that spot where I pushed the anchor button. Right now it's pushing the boat backwards a little bit. It is going to put itself right back over that spot where I hit the spot lock button. And you can see on the remote there's a little anchor symbol, and there's some degrees and feet. We're in spot lock mode right now. Now we're on a lake, so there's no current. There is a little bit of wind, so spot lock's not going to be the greatest in this situation, but if you're in some current or if you're in some wind, spot lock actually works really well. Now the back of your boat will sway a little bit, but it gets rid of that need of an anchor. You know, if the conditions are just right, you put this in spot lock and you'll never have to use an anchor again. Now there's going to be times when you do need an anchor. I'm not saying that, you know, you can just throw your anchors away. That's don't do that. But there are times when that spot lock is all you need. You know, a lot of times we get out here on the water, I'll hit the spot lock button while we get everything set up in the boat. I know we're not going to hit the bank. I know we're not going to run into anything. I know we're going to sit here in this one spot. Since we're on a lake, the boat might spin around in circles, but you know, it holds me here. I don't have to worry about anything while I get everything together and ready. So that's the spot lock feature. Next, we're going to go into recording a track, but I'm going to have to get back to the back of the boat and use the gas motor so I can show you guys how that feature works. Okay, so here's what I want to show you. This is our screen. This is our Garmin sonar. It's got a map on it. I'm going to go, I cleared all of our tracks. So what I'm going to do, you can see our motor's still deployed right now, but you do not need to have the trolling motor deployed to do this. I repeat, you do not need to deploy your trolling motor to record a track. You can record a track with the motor stowed. I've done it. I know it works. So we're still on spot lock. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take us off of spot lock just by pushing our button. Now you can see trolling motor is doing nothing. It's deployed, but it's doing nothing. So what I'm going to do is start the motor. All right, we have our gas motor running. Right here on my remote control, I can see record down here in the bottom left corner. I'm going to select it. I'm going to hit my check mark up at the very top one. It's just showing some coordinates and stuff. It is now recording. All right, I don't know what happened there, but the GoPro shut down. So anyway, our motor's setting up there. It's doing nothing. We don't have anything going on with our remote. All the way down here in the bottom left corner, I have record. I'm going to select record. Very top one's highlighted. I don't care what that information is in there because I'm going to record over it even if it was saved. I'm going to put the check mark. It's going to start recording. I'm going to set my remote down because I don't need it right now. Put our motor in gear and I'm just going to drive. Now because I have the trolling motor still deployed, I'm not going to go real fast, but you can see here on the screen that we're starting to make a track. Now I don't want you to get confused and think that this trolling motor and this graph communicate. They do not communicate. I'm just showing you that we're making a track. You can see it on the trolling motor. I'm sorry, you can see it on the screen there. The little black and white dotted line. We're making a track. And the trolling motor is recording the same track. They're completely independent of each other. It's a terrible glare, I'm sorry. They're completely independent of each other, but you're going to see here in a second that it will keep us on that track. So we've recorded about 200 feet of track right now, and the reason I know that is I can see it on my remote. Let me pull this up here. Right here, distance 243 feet. That's how much we've recorded. So what I'm going to do is stop recording. I've stopped recording. Right now we're anchor locked, or spot locked, I'm sorry. You can see we've made this track. We've made that track. There's our boat sitting there spot locked, kind of spinning around a little bit in circles. But now I'm going to show you how to follow the track you just made. So we're spot locked. I am going to take us off of spot lock just by hitting the anchor button. Now it's just going to reset itself. It's sitting there, it's doing nothing. I've got a record and a lock at the bottom. Actually, we're going to go down here we got a go to button. We're going to go to, right here it says iTracks. We're going to select it. There's the one we just recorded, and we can go to the start or to the end. I'm going to select to start because we're at the end of the track right now. I want to go back to the start. So I hit to start. You can see the motor just took over, and it is going to do everything it can do to put us on that track, and we're going to follow it back exactly as we drove in on it. Now inside of this setting, right now I'm at half power. You know, we're not even at 1 yet. The prop is turning. It's going to take us forever to get on this track and follow it. So I'm going to give us a little bit more speed. I'm going to put it on 1.5. That should keep us around that 0.5, 0.6 miles per hour. And what you can see here on the graph, because we did a little bit of drifting, but it is going to take us right back to, well, I didn't need to do that. Let me go home, charts. You can see it's taking us right back to that line we came in on, and we're just going to follow it. And I'm not doing anything. My hands are free. The trolling motor's up there doing its thing, and it is going to follow that line we just recorded coming in. That's exactly what it's doing. So it's just that easy to record a track. You know, I mean, I can get the remote here. You know, you go down and you select record. You select the one at the top. You start it, and you're recording a track. It's super easy. I've been using this feature a lot. It seems to help out because you don't have to continuously look to see where you're going. You know you're going to stay on that track. The motor's going to do everything it can to keep you there, and it's going to go at the speed you set it at. It's a wonderful feature to have, and I suggest everybody give it a try. It can really help increase your catches because you're not fighting, you know, driving the boat all the time. You can concentrate more on what you're doing. So with that, I think I'm going to end it here. There's not a whole lot more to go over. We did the autopilot, we did the spot lock, we did recording a track. I think that's all I've got for today. If you like this video, I want you to consider subscribing and leaving a thumbs up, and make sure you leave us some comments. Tell us, you know, do you use the advanced feature or do you use the legacy feature? We're looking forward to see you guys on the next one. See you next time.